All right, people, we're about to get started. We had a little technical difficulty. The lights went out for like a split second, so we lost internet connection. And I think we should be good now. So let's start the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, shall we?
Welcome to the Network of Awareness, the podcast that delves deep into the wonders of the human experience. We're your guides on this intellectual journey, where curiosity knows no bounds. Join us as we unravel the complexities of human relationships, dissect the intricacies of society and culture, and explore the mysteries of spirituality, social sciences, and philosophy. But that's not all. We're not afraid to shine a light on so-called conspiracies that are more than just theories. Through the power of authentic conversations, we're on a quest for knowledge, seeking to understand the world around us and the essence of the human spirit. So whether you're in search of wisdom, craving insightful perspectives, or just eager for a fresh take on life's most intriguing subjects, our network has something for everyone. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and empowered as we share messages of truth. One podcast episode at a time. Stay tuned for thought-provoking discussions that challenge the status quo and encourage personal growth and understanding. Prepare yourself for a journey that transcends the ordinary, where each episode promises to be a beacon of insight and revelation. This is the Network of Awareness, where the pursuit of knowledge meets the power of authentic conversation. Welcome aboard, and let's embark on this intellectual adventure together. Let's go, people.
My aura is a network full of awareness and gifts like Aura, the informationalist, the informationalist, the informationalist, the informationalist, the informationalist,
All right. Peace and greetings, people. This is ORRA The Informationalist coming to you live and direct. And we had some technical difficulties here. And I think we're good now. So the good thing is that we are broadcasting live on Instagram. So now we can broadcast live on Instagram. And I didn't put a promo out for what time this was going to come out. I just decided to do an episode tonight, and I just did it on the whim because I wanted to discuss about why we must be our authentic selves. And let's post that up here real quick. Why we must be our authentic selves. This is season 6, which is the light is within you and all around you. Because it can't be anywhere else, right? The light's always been within us. It ain't anywhere else. And if you have anybody that tells you that the light is somewhere else, they're lying to you. But also, it's all around us. And in this episode 33, why we must be our authentic selves, I'm going to get into this. And I'm going to start over because I was in the groove about talking about why I wanted to do this episode. But welcome to anybody who's joining this live broadcast, and peace and greetings to you on this beautiful evening on Saturday, December 6th. It's approximately 8:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Tampa Bay area. And I want to thank anybody who supports the Network of Awareness. We got some great things coming up as far as a subscription on Spreaker that's going to be offered now. Some lot of updates to a lot of the networks that I have, which is really good because that means that people are stepping up their game. But with that being said, anybody that is going to watch this on Instagram, I appreciate it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to start a new Instagram account, which I already have, but I'm going to switch over because this Instagram account that I have sucks. It's something that it's better to have all the same handle. And because I'm Aura underscore informationalist on TikTok, I want to keep the same handle for my social media, which is Aura Informationalist. And we're gonna be broadcasting live on TikTok soon. So for anybody that follows me on TikTok, that's coming soon. I'm working with StreamYard to see how I can get it. Right now, you have to do it directly through TikTok. And I don't know if I have enough followers yet. because I just hit over 2,500 followers. So I'm not sure how that works, but I'm going to look into that and get into it and see if we can broadcast on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and Spreaker all at the same time. Now, we are broadcasting from Spreaker via audio. So if you follow us on Spreaker, definitely follow, because whenever we do live episodes and we broadcast on Spreaker, sometimes we only do a Spreaker live broadcast that goes to the regular networks after the fact. So it's better to follow us on Spreaker more than any other site, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or even Instagram or TikTok. So, with that being said, why we must be our authentic selves. And I'm going to read an introduction here to this episode. And this is a self awareness series installment. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delve into why we must be our authentic selves. And real quick, just being my authentic self, if I wasn't being my authentic self right now, I would have blamed that little surge that we had from the storm as to blaming it on some entity like Satan or some malevolent force, which I'm going to tell you, once you do that, once you give your power away, you done lost. So don't blame things on outside entities that have nothing to do with what's really going on. Just stay the course, speak things into existence, and know that they will work. And don't get overwhelmed when things don't happen, because everything happens for a reason. I can tell you that one thing I didn't do is that I stayed in a very high vibration of peace of mind. So when it went out, I didn't get upset. I just waited for the power to come back. And I said, you know what? Let me put the Spreaker on, because I didn't have Spreaker on live broadcast. I said, hey, this is a blessing. So everything happens for a reason. Now we're broadcasting live on Spreaker, live on Instagram, because I figured out that I could put it on my Safari. So now I'm good on the Safari. And we broadcasting on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So it's that simple. Now, with that being said, I want to read this introduction on this why we must be our authentic selves. So this is what we're going to discuss tonight on this live broadcast. Authenticity is an important aspect of life. It's the basis of self-trust, self-confidence, and self-love. When you are your authentic, when you are able to look in the mirror and see your true self, not the person you think you should be, you're able to be honest with yourself and with others about your thoughts and feelings. You can be vulnerable and open without fear and judgment. And let's take this down for a second, okay? So, welcome. I forgot that I didn't even have my screen up. But continuing back to what I was reading here for the introduction of the show, is that you're able to be honest with yourself and with others about your thoughts and feelings. You can be vulnerable and open without fear of judgment. And I have mentioned this, repeat it again since we got lost in this broadcast with the storm, is that you can't allow the fear of judgment to basically get you discouraged from being your true authentic self. Because once you do that, you're going to be something that's not in your best interest and that is not conducive to your well-being. Authenticity allows you to be your true self. It allows you to be true to yourself, even in difficult situations. And those difficult situations is usually the times of criticism and judgment from others. But keep in mind that usually when you're getting criticism and judgment from others, the people that are judging you are really judging themselves, because most of the time when people are criticizing and judging you, it's coming from a deep sense of insecurity. Keep that in mind. But also, it allows you to take risk and live life to the fullest. It allows you to create meaningful relationships and experiences. Authenticity is a challenge, though, but it's well worth it. It is the key to leading a fulfilling life. When you embrace yourself and your authentic self, you can make decisions and take actions that are aligned with your values. You can have meaningful connections with others, and you can live life with purpose. Authenticity is the foundation of true happiness and success. It is the key to living an honest, meaningful, and fulfilling life. So, welcome to the Network of Awareness. I'm your host, or the Informationalist. And I wanted to read that introduction, and I'm going to read something else too that I was reading before we got interrupted. And I'm going to read that again for those that are tuning in. And before I read this, I want to sincerely apologize to a lot of my faithful listeners from around the world that stuck by me because we lost a lot of listeners. And the reason why we lost a lot of listeners is because I wasn't being my authentic self. And I was introducing people and topics on this podcast that really wasn't in alignment with my true authentic self. And also not in alignment when I think about it right now as I'm speaking. And I'm like, it wasn't in alignment with the authentic, faithful supporters and listeners of this network. And now I know why I lost over 1,500 consistent downloads and listeners per month because I wasn't being my authentic self. So for anybody who did leave and those that did stay, thank you. But those that did leave, I understand why you did, and I'm not mad at you because I would have left too. But for those that stuck around, we're coming back to our authentic selves here on the Network of Awareness, and we're going to be better than ever. And that's a fact. Um, with that being said, let me read the this is the description to the podcast. And I changed it up, I revised it, I edited it because I'm coming back to being the authentic or the informationalist on the Network of Awareness, like I originally started and was pretty much like that for the first year and a half. But the year and a half after, um, it was kind of back and forth. So now we're not going to do that no more. And a lot of things that I introduced on my show, like religion and like other topics, I'm not doing it no more because a lot of it is it's just confusing and it's not authentic. It's very outdated and it's very narrow-minded. And here at the Network of Awareness, we're about consciousness. We're about being mindful and self-aware. And when you're mindful and self-aware, you get to see this matrix and you get to see how most people in the world are not critical thinkers and are not thinking for themselves. A lot of people are caught up in old traditional group thinking, and a lot of people are caught up in these new age religions like your Christianities, like your Islam and all that. And I'm not knocking anybody who is into religion. I'm just saying that on this network, it's not conducive for the spiritual growth of the great awakening that's happening right now. And that's where I lost the authenticity of what I already had knew. And I was conforming to things that wasn't conducive to what I already knew and to things that I just knew wasn't based on truth. It was based on half truths, but a lot of it, even in the half truths that were given on this show, is heavily manipulated. And once I got to see that over and over again, it just wasn't working well with me. So I want to apologize to all my listeners for doing that because I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't being comfortable in my own skin. I wasn't being my true authentic self with this network that I worked very hard to build up, only to lose a lot of listeners because of the confusion. So because of that, it's almost like I'm starting from the beginning. And I'm starting like if I it's like this particular episode is not my first episode, right? Because we have over 600 episodes, but I feel like it is. I feel like it's a new beginning. And when you live in the present, right, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. And this episode is a new beginning moving forward to where we're not going to get caught up in confusion, in narrow mindedness, and in false doctrines and philosophies and all of that. We're all about truth and really about exposing the lies. And I'm going to read this so you can get a great understanding of what we're about moving forward. We discuss a diverse array of topics from unraveling the complexities of human relationships to dissecting the intricacies of society and culture. Also, exploring the mysteries of spirituality, social sciences, philosophy, and exposing so called conspiracies that are not theories, which, of course, we have the Conspiracies Not a Theory series. And through the power of authentic conversations that we have with many different guests from many different backgrounds and walks, we pursue knowledge of the human experience. Now, whether you're seeking wisdom, insight, or simply a fresh perspective on life's most intriguing subjects, our network has something for everybody. And that something for everybody is anybody and anybody, or everybody and anybody that is looking for something meaningful that can help them in their life, something that can give them some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, but also entertain them and give them something to smile about and to laugh about. And that's another thing I noticed with not being my authentic self. I became super rigid trying to be a people pleaser and trying to acclimate into these low vibration systems that was not conducive to what the great creator of all has already given and shown me, and the purpose that's been given and shown to me. And when I started to digress from that purpose, is when I started to see a drop in not just my listenership, but I saw a drop in everything. And that's why I have to thank the people that stuck around through the madness and the confusion and the confliction. But what I am grateful for is that I had to go through that experience to know what doesn't work, and also to know why I didn't get caught up in certain things, or why I never pursued things at a younger age. And I stayed away from certain organizations and systems and beliefs and all of this other nonsense that once I got exposed to it, I was just like, holy shit, this is some madness. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to judge anybody, but I know what is and I know what isn't for me. And I hope that this network of awareness will provide that same type of awareness for you. It also says, prepare to be inspired, enlightened, and empowered as we share messages of truth, one podcast episode at a time. And stay tuned for thought provoking discussions that challenge the status quo and encourage personal growth and understanding, which I put that in part of the new introduction with the voiceover. And I'm going to play that one more time just so that the listeners, because I just finished completing that video today. But with that being said, I'm glad that I got to read that, because not being my authentic self has really hurt my podcast. But we live and we learn. And by living and learning, one of the things that I've learned is to not have stupid compassion anymore. It's good to have compassion, but not to have it stupidly. And a lot of times, because we are good people or we have a great amount of empathy, having a great amount of empathy has to come with certain boundaries and has to come with a certain level of discernment and a certain level of responsibility of knowing when to have compassion and when to put a pause, or when not to have compassion. Because if you have too much and you have too much empathy for situations that you should not be empathizing for, then that becomes a stupid compassion. And that's going to lead you down some dark paths. That's going to lead you astray. And that's going to make you become a people pleaser. And you're not going to become your authentic self because you're going to start giving a shit about what other people think about you. You're going to start adopting the beliefs of other people that they don't even know why they believe some of the things they believe. They just believe it because that's what they've been taught since they were little. And that's the program that they're running on. That's the robot consciousness. And when you're operating on robot consciousness, you're so far from being your authentic self. And right now, through this great awakening, there's a lot of people being their authentic selves, and there's those still trying to find their authentic self. There's a lot of people that are still caught up in the matrix. But then there's some people running on a program where they don't even want to be unplugged. Like in the Matrix, where Morpheus was showing Neo all the people walking in the city and they was bumping into Neo. Those people are your robot consciousness. Those are the people that are running on belief systems that are programmed into their mind that they don't even question. And right now, unfortunately, we live in a world amongst a multitude of societies within this planet where there's this robot consciousness and group thinking that lacks critical thought. So most people don't even know who they truly are. They're just going by what they read in a book. They're going by what other people tell them they should be, or they're not just thinking at all, and they're running on the program very unaware of who they truly are. So they're not being their authentic selves. Now let's pull this up here real quick. Let's look up what this says here. It says, put simply, authenticity means your true personality, values, and spirit, regardless of the, and let me take this over here. It says, regardless of the pressure that you're under to act otherwise, you're honest with yourself and with others, and you take responsibility for your mistakes. And that's why I wanted to do this episode, people. I'm taking responsibility for the mistakes that I've made in allowing and bringing certain information that was very misleading onto this network, very conflicting, and not in alignment with the way I started this network. Because this network is about spirituality. This network is about helping you, the listener, to understand that the light is and always will be within you. And that's why it's our responsibility to light up the tunnel and find our way through these dark times. But in these dark times, we're finding the light. And by finding the light within ourselves, we're brightening up these dark times. So even though it may seem grim, it really isn't. Because once you find your true power and your higher self and your authentic self, and you are one with it every single day, living in that vibration and on that frequency, the possibilities are endless. And that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. No more of this conflicting mumbo jumbo nonsense that I've brought onto this network. I can't even express, like,
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo. How you doing?
see, it says your values, ideals, and actions are aligned. That's how you become your true authentic self. Your authentic self is who you really are deep down into the nucleus and core to who you are. The part of you that doesn't care what others think. That sentence needs to be highlighted. I'm going to read it again. The part of you that doesn't care what others think. I can't stress how important that is. You can't give two fucks about what other people think about you. Because most of the time, when people think of you in a certain way that is not who you truly are, or when they distance themselves from you, oh, well, it's their loss. Because they don't even know who the hell they are. They're running on robot consciousness. They're running off of a program. They're running off of what other people tell them to do. And when you start living your life for other people and you're not living your life for yourself, you are going to get caught up in some horrible situations. And most of the time, when you're living like that, you're going to be so caught up in not being your authentic self that you're going to wind up becoming insecure. You're going to wind up suffering from anxiety, and you're going to wind up becoming depressed and lost. And that's what happens when a lot of people care about what other people think about them. There's several books from Robert Kiyosaki that talk about this, and he goes deep into how you can't give a shit about what other people think about you. It's vitally important not to do that, because once you do that, people that care about what other people think about them are always unsuccessful in life, and in all aspects of their life, not just with their careers, not just with making money, but they're unsuccessful in everything that they do because they're not being their authentic selves. This is very important. And just as a reminder, for the first time, we're broadcasting on Instagram for the first time, which is great. I want to give a shout outs to Benny BP619. Thank you for joining on Instagram. Really appreciate it. This is our first time. We're going to be getting better and better with time in broadcasting on Instagram. But for those that are following me on Spreaker right now, live on audio, thank you. And then, of course, those that are watching right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're doing it up today. And I'm going to say it again. Don't give a shit what other people think about you. Because once you do that, you lost. You don't know what you're doing with yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know when you're coming. You don't know when you're going. And then you're always having this high level of anxiety because you're worried about what somebody else thinks about you. And most of the time, I'm going to tell you like this. Most of the time, if not all the time, a lot of times when you care about what other people think about you, those same people that are criticizing and judging you don't got a leg to stand on. They need to fix themselves. They need to focus on themselves, because anything that they impose upon you is something that they're lacking within themselves. Isn't that what narcissism is? Don't narcissists always blame you for what they're doing? Always narcissists want to point out what you're lacking because it's really what they're lacking within themselves. And this is why I'm so grateful that I got away from certain people I was dealing with, because that's exactly what I was experiencing. And it wasn't so much that they were pointing the finger directly at me, because I would have said something to them. But there was a lot of innuendos and indirect. But I also saw them doing this to other people, and I was very much disgusted. And whether it's with me or somebody that I care about, or even somebody that I don't even know from a hole in the wall, if I'm seeing that type of behavior and that type of treatment, I am going to distance myself from those people. Because if, like that saying, birds of a feather flock together, you become the company you keep. And when you become the company you keep, if that company is not positive, uplifting, being their authentic selves collectively, then you're not going to be able to be your authentic self. Now, to finish the statement, authenticity happens when your words, actions, and behaviors consistently match your core identity. Powerful statement right there. Your core identity. Because honestly, as you all know, when I created this logo, right? And you see the human being walking through the tunnel, lighting up the tunnel, not looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, but lighting up the tunnel, because they're lighting up the darkness, because the light is always going to be within you. When you start walking with that level of confidence, it's amazing what you can accomplish, the things that you can do. Because most people that care about what other people think about them, they don't get to fulfill their purpose in life. And it's not just one purpose. We all have a multitude of purpose, being the spiritual being, having the physical experience. But if we're not being our authentic selves, then we wind up being what somebody else wants us to be. And by doing that, we become less than. And that's why I wanted to do this show, because I saw how I had to be honest with myself and realize I'm bringing on certain topics and people onto the show, and I'm listening, and like I'm going back and listening to these shows that I've interviewed people on. And I was just like, damn, man, I can understand why I lost so much listenership, because I would have bounced too listening to this bullshit, listening to this narrow mindedness, this lack of understanding of self, and running on particular programs that don't even make sense, that are based on half truths that are heavily manipulated. And I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but I know what isn't, and I know what is in my life. I know what works, and I know what doesn't work. And that's the thing, is that when you're living your true authentic self, some people hear a voice, some people just have that intuition. Most of the time, it's just intuition. But when you're not being your authentic self, your higher self, the spiritual being, is going to remind you, it's going to show you like, this is not working. It's like putting a round peg into a square hole. And it's like you're constantly trying to knock it in there, but it's never going to work. It's never going to fit in. But most of us, I'm not saying all of us, but most of us, especially in Western civilization society, do this shit. We're constantly trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. And then we just get lost in the sauce trying to do this shit over and over again. And then while we're trying to do that, we get discouraged. And then other people try to tear you down and tell you that you're less than. And this is another thing too. If you're affiliated, or if you're with any groups, family members, friends, any type of organizations that are telling you you ain't shit, telling you that you're wicked, telling you that you're a filthy rag, that you're this, get as far away from those people that you possibly can, because I'm here to tell you at the Network of Awareness, you're none of those things. You are infinite possibility. And we really have to start owning that these days, because we're in a system right now that wants to keep you deaf, dumb, and blind, wants to keep you dull, wants to keep you unaware of your true self so that you don't accomplish anything and don't change your reality. You know, when I did the episode with the brother Elohim Ali, and we did the episode on the Matrix, and I'm going to bring him back on once I finish his book called FAMS, right? Which is book, what does it stand for? It stands for Food, Forest, Foraging, Anti-Fragile Society, Generation 1, I believe. And I could tell you, when the brother was on here, we did the Discover the Hidden Truths of the Matrix. And wonderful show. 3 hours and 10 minutes that felt like 30 minutes. But we discussed about how we're in this matrix, and he discussed, and he brought out, and he brings out so beautifully and eloquently on his book about how civilization is a devourer. And right now, throughout the world, but especially here in Western civilization, I can't speak too much on Eastern, even though I got a lot of listeners in the Eastern hemisphere. And I do, bring out information that's going on around the world. Most of the information I focus on is here is Western civilization, because this is where I was raised in. This is what I know. And I can tell you that Western civilization devours, it conquers and destroys. It does not multiply. It does not birth anything. It just consumes, and consumes until there's nothing to consume anymore. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was telling me how he lives in South Carolina, and when he lived in New York, he didn't look at the medical healthcare system like he does now in South Carolina with the treatment that his wife gets. It's very different. But Western medicine is meant to keep you sick. It's meant to keep you sick until you die. And then not only meant to keep you sick, it's meant to keep you drugged up to the point where I have certain family members that have been taking certain pharmaceutical medications for so long that it's deteriorating their brain function. Their cognitive function is slowly but surely depleting. And that's what this Western civilization does. That's just one aspect. But they do it through the education system. They do it through religion. Religion, I got such a high dose of religion this past year that I'm good. Like, I understand now why I stayed away from religion, because religion is meant to suppress you. Religion is sole purpose is to keep the power outside of you so that you never are empowered with the true essence of who you truly are and where you truly come from. You're always trying to look for it from some man or some entity outside of yourself, and you get lost in it. And I know for a fact, as I'm doing this episode, like, the intuitive higher self is already letting me know that this episode is going to piss a couple of people off. And I hope it does, because the people that it pisses off are the ones that need to seek their authentic self the most. And the ones that it's pleasing and they feel refreshed and they feel like a breath of fresh air listening to this type of content are the ones that are seeking their true authentic selves and living their true authentic selves. So congratulations to all you people that are living your true authentic selves. And let's give a round of applause for those people real quick. So I'm going to play a quick song here for just a moment. And I just want to look up some information. So I'm going to take a brief intermission. And on the end of the matter of fact, what I'll do too is I'm going to play the video again. Let's do that real quick. Let's play the video that I just put out today. This is the new introduction to the Network of Awareness. And then I'll play a song by the brother Yazan.
Welcome to the Network of Awareness, the podcast that delves deep into the wonders of the human experience. We're your guides on this intellectual journey, where curiosity knows no bounds. Join us as we unravel the complexities of human relationships, dissect the intricacies of society and culture, and explore the mysteries of spirituality, social sciences, and philosophy. But that's not all. We're not afraid to shine a light on so-called conspiracies that are more than just theories. Through the power of authentic conversations, we're on a quest for knowledge, seeking to understand the world around us and the essence of the human spirit. So whether you're in search of wisdom, craving insightful perspectives, or just eager for a fresh take on life's most intriguing subjects, our network has something for everyone. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and empowered as we share messages of truth. One podcast episode at a time. Stay tuned for thought-provoking discussions that challenge the status quo and encourage personal growth and understanding. Prepare yourself for a journey that transcends the ordinary, where each episode promises to be a beacon of insight and revelation. This is the Network of Awareness, where the pursuit of knowledge meets the power of authentic conversation. Welcome aboard, and let's embark on this intellectual adventure together. Let's go, people.
My aura is a network full of awareness and gifts like ORRA the Informationalist, the Informationalist, the Informationalist, the Informationalist, the Informationalist, the
Revolutionary, get lit with the pen. Getting lazy for the plan. Ask me why I did it, yo, I did it, cause I can. Nothing gonna stop me from the hit up till they can't take it anymore. They gon' give us all the man. You gon' rise up, sticking to the man. I'm gonna raise shit like that, cause this is who I am. Get about my way, I'm coming through with the squad. I could never lose, cause I'm moving with God. Rock the battle, listen, man. Moving and soft, it's the way we go, think we are true to the cause. Shake the bar rim, I start a rage against the machine. Fight the power, take tomorrow back and wipe this slate clean. We ain't gon' cower to these cowards, we gon' stand for what's right. Get hype in this world while we spreading the light. Where my souls is at, get it going, we gon' show them we ain't cheap, yo, it's over, overthrow they ass. Let them know you mad, bring it to them right where they stand. Don't trip, take the chip, love wins at the end of the day. To the man, still shaking to the man. Revolutionary, get lit with the fan. Yeah, I be on my crazy, getting lazy for the plan. Yeah, ask me why I did it, yo, I did it, cause I can. Nothing gonna stop me from the hit until they can't take it anymore. They gon' give us all the man. You gon' rise up, sticking to the man. Always shall I die, cause this is who I am. That can't think while the rest of us starve. We can't have that, better get ready for war. Can't have that revolution doing the most. We gon' go walk, don't listen to us, it's all. We done playing with you, it ain't a game, yo, we making history. Read, baby, fuck the fame, I wanna change the system. Break your prison, got to keep it the lie. Won't stop till we free and my people on top. On God, homie, it's really with us, so what you about? Make a decision, get busy living, so out for the real things. You are what you do, who are you? I'm definitely I can't rule. You sticking to the man, still sticking to the man. You's gon' rise up, sticking to the man. You's gon' rise up, sticking to the man. You's gon' rise up, sticking to the man. Run up in this Spanish niggas house. Think you getting over on us, but you not. The system has been big, the government's been by. The house will represent us, it represents the house. They was standing by, take them in right out. God damn it, we ain't having what you handing out. We want clean air, clean food, water. A future for our kids, bitch, this a new order. Tear down the wall, love is for all. Death to the man in the system we call freedom ain't free if you can't breathe. Real people stay woke, we ain't gon' sleep. Get it crackin', packin' activism. A full clip, show them crackers, we ain't having all that bullshit. The aristocracy is gonna share, starting now. Stick it to the man, pull the trigger. Stick it to the man. 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 Stick it to the motherfucking man.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that song from the brother DeFree. We're gonna start playing some more music again on the Network of Awareness. And we'll, on certain days of the weekends, we'll start going back to being a radio show where we play a multitude of songs and give some commentary in between. Now, before I go, I wanted to pull up an article here in regards to agreeableness, a dimension of personality. So let's share it here and let's view it here. So I'm going to read this brief study for you guys and girls and just kind of talk about agreeableness before I go, because we got to be very careful when we're utilizing this personality trait. It's not necessarily that it's bad, but too much of anything is not good. And to a certain level, we should be agreeable when dealing with other people. We can't always be combative and judgmental, but we have to be able to agree to disagree. And if you can't have a relationship with a person on any level where you can't agree to disagree, then that relationship is going to have a lot of toxicity and dysfunction. So let's go into this real quick. Agreeableness is probably best conceptualized as a general latent variable that summarizes more specific tendencies and behaviors. Agreeableness should certainly qualify as an individual difference having significance for people's daily actions. It can be predominantly an effective evaluation and may be more diffuse reaction. Across a range of studies, agreeableness emerges in the natural language descriptions of the self and peers. Furthermore, there is evidence that self-rating and peer evaluations converged in assessing agreeableness. Later, pro-social personality is discussed in this chapter, and pro-social behavior can be conceptualized as a form of agreeableness. And we're going to do an episode on pro-social behavior. Recent research suggests that there may be important dispositional components to prosocial behavior, as these may be seen even in young children. Precise identification of these dispositions has been inhibited by problems of differentiation or differentiating among social motives and by weak measures of altruism as an outcome and as a disposition. Basic biobehavioral research suggests that individual differences in agreeableness in adults may have their origins in effective self regulatory processes in childhood. And we're going to go into this when we do an episode on this, because a lot of times, and I used to suffer from this, and sometimes I fall into these patterns still to this day with family, with immediate family. And it's because, and I'm going to tell you this, as a child, I became a people pleaser because I was always trying to prove myself to my friends and the relationships that I was trying to cultivate. So I always felt like I wasn't enough because I was raised in a family dynamic where I was constantly being put down. And because I was constantly being put down, I always felt like I had to go above and beyond for other people because I didn't feel the worth, or I didn't have that understanding and confidence of my authentic self at a young age. So I was trying to find validation by going above and beyond to help other people so that they can see the worth in me, and then I can get that validation from them. And I had to really free myself from that as I got older and started to get more connected to my true higher self, which educated me in understanding that I'm just enough, that I am good enough, that I don't have to impress anybody. I don't have to go above and beyond for other people. They either accept me for who I am or they don't. And as long as I'm not hindering or manipulating somebody else, then I'm good. And you should be too. Don't go above and beyond for people, because most of the time when you do that, it's for people that don't even deserve it. It's for people that not are never going to value you for the true essence of who and what you are. But I'm here to tell you that by being your authentic self, as we read before, you don't have to worry about that, because when you're with your true authentic self, your self-worth is with yourself. What anybody else thinks of you doesn't even matter. And in the end of this summary from the publisher of Agreeableness, because I'm reading the summary here, it says that related to the development of agreeableness, and these may be related to health, especially cardiovascular disease. And that's interesting because I've seen this, in the past year. I've noticed that certain people that like to criticize others and condemn others have problems with their heart. And I was just telling a friend of mine the other day that it's not a coincidence that people that have a darkness, or what they call a black heart, and that are heartless, and that are always condemning others, always criticizing others, always telling other people how they should live instead of dealing with themselves, they got weak hearts. They got poor hearts. People that are always doing the bochinche thing, which that's Spanish lingo for gossiping. People that are always gossiping about others, they got weak hearts. And it's something that I've seen where you got people that like to criticize others, but their health is all jacked up. And it's because the energy that they're putting out, because they're not living their true authentic self, has got them all messed up health wise. And it messes them up to where it becomes so debilitating, so weakening for their spirit. They don't even know who they truly are. And they wind up not living that long because their health can't even sustain their life. They can't even sustain their health throughout their life. So they become weak. And shout outs to my homie, Natural Mystic Gems. I see you there. So we're reaching to the end of the hour, and I didn't want to stay on too long here. And I'm going to take this off real quick. Let's take the screen down. I hope that you enjoyed this episode on why we must be our authentic selves. It's paramount, it's important to be our authentic selves now more than ever in these days and times, because nobody else is going to do it for you. We live in a society where there's so much competition, and competition will always have a ceiling, whereas cooperation is limitless. But we live, unfortunately, in a world and in societies that everything is about image and competition, and it's nothing in the media, in the education system, or in a lot of different industries that we are engaged with on a daily basis that's going to teach us how to be our authentic selves. Because the only way you're truly going to be one with the creator of all, one with the creator of the universe. Some of you call him the creator, divine, source, whatever. But the infinite, that which is and always will be, that which I can't even give a name, because like I always say, it's like giving your name to your parents. How are you going to name something that you came from? Makes no sense. But that true essence of where we come from and what's in ourselves, that light that's within, when we start practicing introspection and meditation and self-evaluation and really dig deep into who we truly are, that's how we become our authentic selves. That's who we get to understand who and what we are and what we're here for and what we're here to do. So, with that being said, brothers and sisters, and to all my fellow network of Awarians from around the world, I want to thank you for joining me on this live broadcast. I haven't done a live broadcast like this in quite some time. But with that being said, I want to wish you all well, and we're going to sign off here. I want to say, when you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. And some of the new beginnings that are coming, we're going to come with a subscription on Spreaker, where we're going to be putting out episodes that we can't put on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or even on the podcast, because it'll be shadow banned, censored. So we're going to have a subscription for shows where I'm going to go deep into the science appliance, the needle, the pandemic or the scandemic, and other things that I can't discuss on this network, because the moment I even speak it out, I'll get flagged. We're going to talk about so many different things on the subscription podcast. So I hope that you guys can subscribe and support the network of awareness. And as always, the donations links are in the description box. And we also have an affiliate link with StreamYard. We're going to have a couple of other affiliate links that if you want to gain discounts to certain providers, we're going to have them on the network. So with that being said, don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, because the light is and always will be within you. So light up the tunnel and find your way through the darkness. This is ORRA The Informationalist signing off, saying peace, love, and light. And may the force of the Creator be with you always. Peace.